Okay, so this is for 121C. So these are the 3 forms that have the little slideshow step by step. Okay, but we'll be going through some of this together, especially with the different paper kinds, to try and make sure that if I can get it to share correctly. Take 2. There it goes. Okay, to make sure that you guys can see, especially if you're using like lined paper instead of the triangle paper, the isometric paper, that you can actually go through this type of steps just with whatever paper you happen to have. Okay, so it is doable with the lined paper. You'll want to turn it 90 degrees like it is right here, where you have your lines up and down. And then your first step really is to try and count out your general size for your object, which we have on this left-hand side here, already counted out. Our biggest thing when we're trying this on lined paper, okay, is that we can count our lines in the left and right-hand direction, but when we go vertically, we are having to eyeball it. We're having to try it out. Okay, so what we're going to try, okay, is at least going 3 in each direction. Right, something kind of like this. And what we're trying for, okay, is if you made a straight line across here, that these two angles here would be the same, approximately. Okay, so I know that that is tricky based on what we're doing here, but we are trying our best. Okay, so we have 3, 6, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so we have 11 on this side. We have 3 on this side. All right, so now for our vertical component on the side, we have 6. So remember, we can't really count that, but we do know from right here, okay, that 3 is about that distance long. Okay, so what we can do is we can say about that long here twice. That's about 6. Okay, once we have this outer edge here, there's a couple different ways we could do this. We could make this into the glass box where we show the entire outside rectangular form like shown in red on the left, or we can kind of follow the edges around. That's what we're going to do for this one, especially on lined paper. It's a little easier than trying to show the whole form. Okay, so this little surface here is a 3 by 3 square. Remember, we can't really measure vertically. Oh, there it goes. But it's about that same distance, just turned on its side. Okay, one of our important pieces here is that these two edges, okay, these two edges in red, need to be parallel. All right, remember parallel is if they went on into infinity and they never crossed. Okay, so they need to make sure you're as close as possible to parallel to make sure that this works out. Okay, if we do the same type of thing for our top surface, okay, this is a 6 by 3. If we start at this down angle, it needs to be parallel to the front. Okay, our 3 goes up to the upper right. We can connect that surface across. Okay, again, parallel is the biggest thing for any of these rectangular shapes. Okay, these lines should all be parallel. And so should these. Okay, and to finish this one up, we actually just need to connect our dots for this cut edge. Okay, and that is form 1. All right, we also, remember, we try to use our tonal shading. Okay, this won't be perfect because this program is a little tricky when it comes to shading, but I'll kind of scribble in here so you get the point. Usually we'll do a darker shade either on the front or the side. This time we're picking the front. Okay, we would shade, mostly shade. Okay, this whole surface. I know that looks great. Okay, and then we would pick a half shade, like a lighter shade, to shade in your side. And then for this one, we do have this angled surface. I usually like to give a little gradient in here because your top surface is always going to be blank. Okay, that should be left white. All right, that is form 1. Okay, for form 2, once it loads, there it goes. Okay, for form 2, we'll get our lined paper in here again. Okay, so this will be 1, 2, 1C still. Okay, form 2 looks like this. Let's erase some of my scribbles since we're doing this again. Okay. All right, so for this one, I like to start with that bottom box since it is just a box. We're not really needing to cut anything out of it or anything. So you see at the, for our depth, it has the 6. Okay, that's this direction. Oh, let me switch colors. All right, so 6 is that depth, 4 is our length. Okay, so we're starting the same way we did before. Okay, we're going to start with 6 in this direction. Okay, and 4 in the opposite. And then if you notice, this is too tall for the height. Okay, we can approximate that. And then connect our dots along the edges. Okay, so that gives us the edge of our rectangle. To actually finish the rest of the rectangle, to add that top surface, okay, this is still 6 along the side and 4 along the back. So we just do the same exact thing, just towards the back. Again, key here is trying to keep as many of your lines parallel as you can when they're rectangular shapes like this. Okay, so these 3 lines should be parallel. Okay, and these 3 should also be parallel. I haven't shown, our vertical ones should also be parallel, but since they are along the lines, I haven't been showing them since, hopefully, as long as you're following along the lines of your paper, those should actually work. Okay, to then add our second shape to this form, okay, I like to start with this surface right here because this has an immediate connection to the initial form that we've already started. And it's easy to, again, follow our shape around. Okay, so this is 2 boxes from the side. All right, and it's a 2 by 2 square. So when we start on our object so far, we need to start right about here. Okay. We need to keep parallel. We're going to go 2 across. The height would be about the same as the distance for 2. Something kind of like that for our box. Then if we follow our surfaces around, okay, this was 1, 2, 3, 8 in length, and still 2 for our depth. Oh. So we need to make sure, as I plug my computer in, here it goes. We need to make sure that our 8 is still parallel to the initial ones that we did. Okay, 2, 4, 6, and 8. Okay, our 2 can come back across here, and then we just kind of follow it back, 6 and 8. Okay. All right. Then it's good to add in this little section. It's a 2 by 2 little triangle. Okay, it follows along the line that we had. Ours is a little short. That's okay. Again, like I mentioned, our goal here is to practice the style. It does not need to be perfect. I need to see the attempt. Okay? And that is form 2. All right. Form 3. Oops, eventually. We don't need that open. Okay, form 3 looks something like this. This one's nice because each one of these blocks is all the same size. It's like you took 7 wooden blocks and glued them all together, which is actually probably something we'll do later this year. So each block is a 2 by 2 square. And basically, if we follow around our edges, we should be able to create this nice little shape. So we're going to start with this surface shown in blue, just like before. Okay, we're going to go 2, but in this case, we're making our little diamond along the side here. Then we have a diamond along the top. Again, in 2s, we have a diamond moving up. Again in 2s, so it's very all basically the same size lines. Okay, this very, very top surface though is 4 across. So it's like there's 2 blocks going towards their depth. Go back across to get that top surface. All right, then we can follow around. Okay, these 2 little lines. Okay, this line that comes down should be equal in length to the other one that we had just drawn on the opposite side. Okay, so you want to make sure they're approximately the same. And this is now when we can start making our next diamond for the other square we have, the other cube. Okay, something like that. And we're pretty close. Not perfect, but again, on lined paper, you're doing the best you can. Okay, it'll be close, is the goal. Form, that M didn't want to go, form 3. Okay, and that's all 3 forms on lined paper. Remember, if you have questions, just let me know. Do the best you can. Again, I'm not expecting you to be perfect. I'm expecting you to try. So keep me posted, do your best, and we'll go from there.